Good afternoon. This is the City of Liberty Lake Parks and Arts Commission, and I'm Nancy Hill. Today is Monday, February 3rd, and it's 4:02 p.m. We'll jump into our agenda, starting with the roll call. Nancy Hill, myself, present. David Heimbaugh.
Present.
Laura Frank has indicated she will be absent. Katie Ferris.
Present.
John Bear. No John online either. John's not here yet. Noelle Otterson Laparco.
She's trying.
She's trying to get in. We don't see her yet. Bob Schneidmiller.
He is here.
Can you hear me, Bob? Are you muted?
Present. Do you hear me?
I do. I hear and see you. Hello.
Okay.
Joni Hay, she indicated she would probably be joining us via Zoom. Do we have Joni? Not yet. Audrey White?
Present.
All right. Good to see everyone. And we do have a quorum. So thank you everyone for coming. We'll jump right into the approval of the January 6, 2025 meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? And are there any edits or corrections? And if not, a motion to approve.
I so move to approve minutes as written.
Second.
Hey, it's been moved and seconded to approve the mittens. I'm thinking about the cold it is outside today. To approve the minutes as written. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please show the minutes have been approved unanimously. Citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments today? I don't see anyone in the building. Is there anyone online, Evan?
Yeah.
Tom Salberg, welcome. What do you have for us?
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we see and hear you.
All right. Well, hi, Bob. Good to see you. First of all, thanks for all that you're doing. Some of you know that Parks and Arts will always be close to my heart. And I just love the energy and the information and the connections that you're all making. But today, the special kudos goes to Katie Ferris. And I know you're going to talk about it later in the agenda, but I happen to know how much work that she put into making sure that we are, again, recognized as a bicycle-friendly community. We, as a result of the work that she did, which was pretty extensive because we had gone for about 10 years without having anything done. And we still have a ways to go. But thanks to her, we got our foot back in the door and we are officially a bike-friendly community. And Katie's given us all homework because she's our boss on this. We have about, Katie, was it 20 different things that we can improve on?
Yes. Yes.
That
We have a lot of things to work on. And
yes. And some of you, David, and some of you that have been around for a while know that I've been pushing for over 10 years to make us a more bike-friendly and safe community as well as pedestrian. And this is a huge step. So congratulations to Parks and Arts and especially to Katie Ferris.
thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom, for
Thanks, Tom.
your kind words and support. It's always appreciated. Any other citizen comments? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is our action, discussion, and presentation, starting with the Rotary Room. I wanted to keep that on the agenda so that we don't forget, but Mikhail, you did some research?
Yeah, so the question that we had last meeting was if the Rotary had any rights to say what art goes on the wall, and they do not, based off of their agreement or memorandum of understanding with them. They just have access to the building certain days.
Okay.
So I think, we can start discussion on what we might like to see. As I mentioned before, I think it needs to be something fairly minimalist, because there will be events in there. We don't want anything to detract. You know, maybe some professionally taken photographs of scenery in the city of Liberty Lake might be nice, or Pacific Northwesty, which kind of goes in with the theme of that building. Does anyone have any ideas about what they might like to see? Bob, just so you'll know, we're talking about the event room at the new Trailhead building that is called the Rotary Room, and we're talking about what art we might want to have on the walls. They're pretty much a blank slate now, other than a few TVs, but since that room is multi-purpose for various events, from business meetings to wedding receptions to whatever, we're discussing what might be appropriate.
I like the idea of something Pacific Northwest. I think it would fit well in there.
Are you thinking photographs maybe, or?
I think more art versus photographs.
Would you see it as something that we might commission and it would always be there, or would we want to expand out the student project?
Well, similarly to what we've done with the art in the hallway, maybe we can just expand that and do that in the Rotary Room where we have the pictures that I took. I think there's probably room for, maybe 4 of those type sized over there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could have something rotated, every 6 months. I really like the artwork that's in the hallway.
Yeah. Well, when we did the artwork in the hallway, we had told the art instructor at Ridgeline High School that we would rotate it annually. So that would be probably coming up. We probably should put her on notice, because then they had the art done before school got out.
Yeah.
So we could ask her to replace the pictures that we have there and then come up with 4 more. We'll have to figure out some kind of dimensions.
Mikhail, can you pop up those pictures again on the screen?
From the last meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I think that having the rotation is an excellent idea. If you do it annually, there's always something new for people to see.
Want to change on you, does it? So it looks like there might, even with those televisions, there might only be room for 2 or 3. So at the entryway, we could have 1 or 2 there.
Mhm.
And then straight down that hallway by the exit there. And we could have 1 in the front. I think 4 would be appropriate.
Mhm. And are you thinking pictures,
Yeah,
like
because
roughly that size?
Size, we could get 2 along the entryway hall, the east wall there. And then just beyond that door.
I don't know.
Beyond that door or that hallway there, we could have, right there, we could have 1 there, and then 1 at the front of the room next to the podium,
Mhm.
the Rotary podium.
You know what, I just remembered when I met with the art teachers from the high school at the location before, and that worked out really well because they actually looked at the wall and figured out, how it might be arranged in a gallery display there. But I think it might be beneficial if sometime in the next month, we could meet the instructors at the location and discuss what that might be and size-wise, and come up with a plan. And then we can ask them to replace the art that's in the hallway, and then do whatever the 4-ish new ones, which would be in a
Okay.
larger size.
I'd be happy to help out. You and I can show up together.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, as soon as I
Yeah,
get
I'm
back.
on the first week, so
Yeah,
Audrey would probably want to meet up with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
definitely see if I have
Well,
time.
why don't I send an email to the art teacher and I'll copy you guys on it and I'll start the conversation. We will have to have, we probably should come back at the March meeting and we can put that on the agenda, what the plan is, and then we can officially have a vote to make sure we want to go forward before we actually authorize them to go ahead with the project. So we can do the research before. Mhm.
Another thought is if that's too much of a request for them at once, we could move the pictures that are in the hallway now to the Rotary Room. And then if they can only do, say, 4 or 5, what do we have in the hallway? 4? Are there more than that?
6, I think.
So we could always take, if that's too much to say, we need 6 new ones, 4 new ones for the Rotary Room, we could take those ones from the hallway, put them in the Rotary Room, and then start a new schedule. I don't know.
I think the ones in the hallway are too small for the
Okay,
Rotary Room,
okay,
but I don't think it'll be a problem because they
Okay.
have a number of art
great,
classes. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
We also, if it ever like does become a little too much, just because it's also really hard to find, to prompt the kids in those art classes sometimes to do something that would be, I guess, appropriate for something like Trailhead, where like a lot of people are going to see it all of the time. We also have a large number of photography classes if it ever became too much, where we could try and also involve some of the more photography side of our classes, because there's quite a number of them and a lot of people I know.
Oh, so
take
you have
those.
specific photography classes? there,
Yeah, we
Richmond?
have, yeah, I've talked with him a few times about some photography stuff, but there's, I think, 3 or 4 classes that revolve around videography and photography at our school, so we could also involve that.
And what do you think about starting out with doing photography
I
in the
think that's a
Rotary
great
Room
idea.
to involve a different segment?
Yeah.
And then we'll continue with the art classes on, because I think the art, well, I guess you could do bigger art, but that's a nice size for it.
Yeah, it's also easier to store in the classes because there's so many kids that sometimes it's hard to store the art pieces where they'll be safe and they won't get ruined if they're bigger, I guess is the best way to put that.
So I would think that if it was photography, have you seen some of the examples of some of their work framed
Yeah.
and matted? Are
Um,
they bigger like that or are they smaller?
they can make them bigger. And if like this first year, maybe because I'd have to talk to the teacher about it. If he doesn't think like, oh, this needs to be like a project or something that I assign kids. I also know a number of photographers that are very like professional photographers that are very involved with our school through like taking pictures of our sports teams and things like that. And they're very well known for taking pictures for our school specifically. A specific one is Roy Powell. His daughter goes to Ridgeline, and so he doesn't do photography for other schools. It's only for our school, so he's very involved, and like a lot of people know him. And so if this first year, maybe if it's like a little bit too hectic to try and get a bunch of kids to do that right now, I could also talk to him and figure out if he maybe wanted to just take some photos for this first year and then help print them out and do all the editing and stuff for that to make it easier this year.
Mhm.
And then continuing on, that can change from there.
Well, why don't we start out with having a conversation with the instructor of the photography classes, or any way that you
I like
could get the email of his or her email and send it to David and I?
Yes, I definitely could, like tomorrow when I'm at school, I
Usually
can
the
try.
first initial and the last name
Yeah.
is CBSD.
If not, I can always check with Miss Cronister and ask her because she probably knows his
Yeah,
email.
yeah.
or
If
his
you could
web-
do that, that would be great. And that way we can reach out to him and,
Mhm.
is it him?
Yes.
Yeah, reach out to him and have him, evaluate whether he thinks, I mean, if it's only 4 photographs and we can figure out the sizes and we'll have, that they have available for printing, or if
Mhm.
we print it out offsite. But yeah, we'll start out with
Okay.
the email and we'll go from there. Thank you for chiming in with that. I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
I didn't know Noel's on.
All right.
I made it.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Right, please show for the record that Noelle Ofterson Laparco is with us and present. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next item, the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. Do we have anything on that?
Just that we have been going through the process. We did some interviews and we did select a preferred firm for the Parks and Rec Master Plan. And we are in the process of updating the scope with them and then getting an agreement that will go to council, hopefully by the next council meeting.
Okay, and so once that's approved and then the project is in place, at some point, the Parks and Arts Commission will have some kind of involvement with that.
Correct.
Okay. And that's a 5 or a 10-year plan?
I believe it is a 6 off.
Oh, he's holding two finger, Mark?
No, these are more like 20-year plans where you
Oh.
update them in, say, 10-year increments. So this is a long-range plan.
Nice. All right, moving on to our next item, the public engagement on the Pavilion Park Playground. And several things have happened on that. You'll see in your packet, there is a playground survey list of questions. And Mikhail put those together because our plan, remember we discussed last time that we'll be working with the Community Engagement Commission. And we thought we need to have some kind of guidelines for them of what we had envisioned as far as helping us get the input for that. So we thought it would be helpful and if we had some questions, at least a rough list of questions that could be a tool as they engage the community on what they want to see. So there's a list of 12 questions. I don't know if you had a chance to look through them. There's any feedback?
Will this be like in a survey that goes out to the public or how
Well,
will we be
I-
sending it out?
we worked on that little outline, but I don't see that in the packet. Remember that little outline I created? What I had kind of envisioned is it will be several things, and we'll probably talk to the Community Engagement Commission to be sure, but it'll be some contacts at public events like Barefoot, Farmers Market, maybe something at the library. And then on top of that, it could potentially be a survey. And we could also do a little kind of open house town hall to gather input as well. So we may not every time be using the list of questions, but I think it will be helpful as we go through the various ways that we'll look at engaging the public. And my thought is that I had created a little outline, was kind of what I just said about how the different ways we could do it. And I think our next step is to go to a public engagement commission meeting. And I think since our quorum is 4, as many as 3 of us could go without that being a meeting. Wouldn't that be correct, Mark? If 4 is our quorum?
So the quorum issue really is regarding conducting business. If you're attending the meeting, all of you can attend.
Oh, okay. That's not a meeting because we're all there or something?
Correct.
Okay.
You can all be at the same place at the same time. If during that meeting you get together and start conducting business, that's where the trouble would arise. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, good to know. So as many as us as want to could go to a Community Engagement Commission meeting. And Mikhail looked, and the next meeting is, I wrote it down somewhere.
The third Wednesday of each month.
Yeah, third Wednesday of each month. I won't be available the third Wednesday of this month. So if we didn't do it this month, we could do it March 19 at 6 p.m., which I think I could make work unless somebody wants to go and do it in this month.
What's the meeting date this month?
What's the third,
19th.
the 19th of February too?
What time is that meeting?
6.
I can make it to that one. If anybody else wants to go.
Yeah, I won't be able to
Tough
go.
for me to do that.
That's tough. Do you want to, what does the March 19 look like for everyone?
I'm out of town.
Oh.
I was curious on question number 6. Is there any equipment that our insurance or those type of safety professionals recommend we don't have? I don't really know, but just curious.
Like the spinner?
Yeah, I mean, are we,
Bring a rider?
I would just hate for us to put it out there and then be like, oh yeah, never mind.
That's something I can ask our risk management company.
We might need a picture of some of these, because I'm not sure what a spring rider is.
Yeah, I know seesaw.
And I know some of these that have been kind of no-nos in the past, they've redesigned them. So like seesaws have typically started to become no-nos for parks, but there's some newer ones that are now more in code with more modern park design.
I could do March 26th or March 19th
March 19th.
available then.
Yeah, I can do March 19th. And Noelle, you said you'd be out of town?
That was me. I said I'd be out of town. Joni.
Oh, Joni.
Yeah.
Didn't know you were here. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I had an emergency vet visit, so I was a little bit late getting on the call.
Well, I hope everything's all right.
Yes.
Mikhail, could you get us pictures of these equipments?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what might be, this might be putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, but if we did a community engagement or a town hall, have a couple of popular vendors actually bring some displays with them that the public can see. So something like, for example, like the traditional stuff we have at Pavilion Park now versus what's at Riverbend Park, downtown Spokane, the new one there, which is really ultra modern equipment. So we can see the difference. And I think that would be something that perhaps they can do if we get to that stage.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Even if we had just a little, if we were in a place where we could show a little PowerPoint where there could be revolving pictures or something, or that people could look at.
Sure.
Well, if Mikhail is going to do the research on the list of questions and what equipment is safe, why don't we plan on doing the March 19th meeting, and then we'll have one more meeting of us, and I'll make sure you have a copy of that outline I created and see if we need to add anything to it, because I thought we could use it as a tool for the Community Engagement Commission. So why don't we ask if we can be on the agenda of the Community Engagement Commission for March 19th at 6 p.m. and that'll give us a little time to get organized for that. And we'll still be way in advance of the farmer's market and all those kind of events where people are out and about. Does that sound good?
Very much.
Yeah, good thinking, Nancy.
All right, we'll do that then. Anything else on public engagement? Right, Mikhail, thanks for doing that research and putting together that draft list of questions. That's helpful. All right, next up is review of the roadmap and budget. I just like to have that handy every time so we can refer to it so we don't forget something. But I think we're, for the most part, have everything going that we need to have going for this month. So I think we're in a good place there, unless anyone has anything particularly that we're worried that we're not on track about. So we can come back to that if we need to. If you can look in your packet, we'll go to proposals. We have 2 proposals in place. The first one is from the Liberty Lake Lions Club, and if you could turn to that in your packet. They would like to place an informational kiosk in the Arboretum next to the new picnic tables. Wendy Van Orman approached me about that, and then I think I don't know if it's the president of the Lions Club or this Bill Ash is the one that turned in the form, but they're gathering, they're selling pavers to help finish off the Arboretum according to the master plan that when Jen Camp gets back, I'll see if we can get a copy of that so we can all actually have it to reference. But they want to set up a little kiosk of some sort where there would be some kind of a form or a brochure to show the public that there was a way for them to get a paver, kind of to get the information out there. And I haven't seen any design. She indicated that they would probably come up with the funding for it by themselves. I personally don't think there's a problem with it, other than I think we should review the design of the kiosk to make sure it's in keeping with, what we would like to see in our parks. I could ask them to come to our next meeting and maybe present that if you want to move ahead with the proposal. Just as a reminder, the proposal was a tool for us pre-presentation to decide if it's a project that we think we can, fit into our bandwidth that we would want to support and help push forward. So what are your thoughts?
Would the flyer be about the Arboretum?
I don't know, but it would definitely include a way to purchase pavers. I don't know what else it would include because it's
We
not
could
in the
possibly
proposal.
put our art flyer there too, for the city art.
Yeah, so maybe the kiosk needs to have multiple holders, if you will, for brochures. That's not a bad idea. There's one in Rocky Hill Park, and it has a little thing that's locked that a parks person can open and put up flyers about barefoot in the park or some other kind of announcement. So I don't know if that would be nice to include in that as well, since do we have that in any other parks, do you know?
We have those kiosks in all the parks, but the Rocky Hill one is a little different where it has the glass kiosk, but then below it, it has 3 or 4 slots to put more like brochures in.
That are weatherproof, kind of,
They kind of are. They still get wet.
right? There's not one in Arboretum though.
No, there's
No.
not.
Let's see what they're proposing. I say we just invite them.
So I'll invite them and I'll ask us to come up with a design and a sample of the materials they might want to put in it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'd like to hear a little more about what their ideas are.
And what information they're going to,
Yeah,
they were envisioning using.
right. Okay, so we'll invite them and ask them to come up with a more detailed list. And Mikhail, when we meet this week, we could go over what that might say. Okay. Invite. All right, and then there's another proposal, if you'll turn the page in your packet. And Mikhail,
Yes, so about a week or so ago, I had an individual reach out to me. She has been part of a group that has been teaching archery with Spokane Parks and Rec for many years, and she's currently opening up her own business. And she's been reaching out to the regional Parks and Rec to see if any of us are interested in doing archery classes. So I suggested that she produce the proposal form and bring it to the commission, and then we could go from there if that's something you all feel that the community would be interested in potentially having in the community.
I love it. I'm all for that idea.
so this would be treated the same way as I bet we had the dance person come and the pickleball people come, where we would give it our blessing and then the agreement would be approved by council, correct?
Correct. I think that some of the differences we're discussing would be with how we receive or who receives payment is something that we're in the process of discussing. So that would be probably the only difference.
So is this something you would like to hear a presentation on?
I would.
Yeah,
Okay,
they would probably want to cover like safety aspects since it's archery, right?
yeah, yeah.
I think probably the purpose of looking at Rocky Hill Park is having the fill in the background.
Right.
So
That
nobody
was
ends up-
Mikhail's suggestion for
So nobody ends
safety.
up with an arrow in their living room wall, right?
Yeah. All right, so we'll see if we can get them to give us a detailed presentation for the archery project. Okay. All right, moving on. The Never Forget Garden electrical box. You keep turning your page, you can see how it was transformed. Well, we don't have the old picture there, but now we have a nice box instead of an ugly piece of plywood with stuff on it. But do you see the same problem I am having? Now we have a box. I feel like it needs a wrap.
Yeah.
I agree. Now we have an ugly box.
Yes, yeah, it's better than an ugly piece of plywood, but yes, and of course, remember, this is the Never Forget Garden. So, I was wondering if we should reach out to those folks and see if they had some art
Good idea.
that might want to be turned into a wrap to complement the Never Forget Garden.
I think that's a great idea.
I don't, somewhere you have their contact information, but
I'll see if I can find it.
is that a conversation you wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
I'll
having?
be happy to follow up with them.
Does anybody have another idea, or they like going that route?
That's a good idea. You could also do like a flag
Yeah,
or something
I
like
mean,
that.
that might be
Yeah.
what they would want, or something patriotic, I would
Yeah.
imagine. But they may have some kind of art or something that, a logo kind of thing for the Never Forget Garden that might be appropriate. Certainly worth a conversation, but we would, David, if you don't mind doing that, then we
No.
can look at it and then there'll be a motion
Yeah.
to go ahead with it. Okay. Thank you.
Mikhail, if you can, I don't have that old email anymore. If you can get me her information, I'll reach out to her.
Yeah, I'll look for it
Thank you.
and get it to you.
Right. All right, now we get to one of our favorite subjects, Liberty Lake Bike Friendly Community. And you'll see in our packet that we have a report card. Katie, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? And thank you. And
You're welcome.
congratulations for
Yeah.
bringing our bike community back to life. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Well, yes, we got the bronze award, and it's been at least 15 years or so before when we first applied. So a lot of things in our city have changed, grown. And what is great about their report, there's 5 different categories: engineering, education, encouragement, evaluation and planning, and equity and accessibility. So those are the 5 major categories they judge on, and they have a big group of experts that go into looking over the application. And they've given us a lot of tips to go forward to work on in the next few years. And I'll just kind of summarize some of the tips they gave us. The main thing is they want us to develop the master plan and bicycle network throughout our planned roadways in Liberty Lake. They would like us to adopt a complete streets policy, which includes the markings of bike lanes and that type of thing as you're developing the streets. If you include that in, then it's less expensive to do it right when you're developing the streets. Also a design manual for bike facilities, like where you'd lock up bikes, that type of thing. High quality parking throughout the community for bikes. Let's see, and continuing to expand the in-school and on-bike learning opportunities in the schools, which has been started already, but to continue to develop that. Also, bicycle education for adults and for drivers, for motorists to be educated on how to be safe around bicyclists, which is I think, a great possibility for us to do. Also offering bike-friendly driver training. There is someone in our community that's going to be working on that. And there's a couple other things, guaranteed ride home program. I'd never heard of that, but that's if someone bikes to their business and then they have an emergency happen, then the business will be able to give them a ride home or get them to the emergency. So it's just another way of honoring people that are making the effort to bike to their businesses. That's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Then, possibly having a bike to work day, or also, promoting the bike to school days. They're excited that we have started a bicycle and pedestrian advisory committee. And so as we go forward with that this spring, I will be bringing this report, and hopefully different people in our community will take on one of these areas to help, develop these different things we can work on. They also want us to look at track the bike crash data, possibly with the police or the fire department or hospital, so we can maybe identify areas that we need more safety. So anyway, and they have a lot of resources, different places that you can go to get more information. So there's quite a bit of information there we can look at and make improvements as we go forward. So I'm really excited about it, that Liberty Lake is really concerned about our safety, walking and biking in our community. So
Well, thank you. I think it's great. And yeah, we have a starting spot. And
yeah.
And then Mark, we have the first ever Public Works Director, right? So wouldn't
Yes.
that be in his wheelhouse too, to excuse the pun?
Yes, and I believe Ben is at least an attendee at the task force meetings. that
Yes,
you've
and
been
I
with.
sent all this information to him too.
And it's my understanding that you're going to brief council about this tomorrow evening, is that correct? Or at least present elements of the report card to them for,
I think he's going to go over that, and then possibly at the next meeting where we're doing our Parks and Arts report, I'll probably go over some things. But
okay.
I think he's going to, because I sent him all the information, he's going to explain some things from the
Okay.
report. Yeah,
Did I hear the bike hub close their doors?
They did.
I did hear that.
Mhm.
Darn it.
Yeah, I think they still have another location, but no longer in Liberty
Yeah.
Lake.
Yeah, they have a pretty active one on Pines there.
Okay, anything else on bikes?
There's going to be a lot going forward.
When do you start meeting, in April or?
Yeah, we'll probably start meeting maybe in March or April.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great work.
that'd be a great subject for, what's the Liberty Lake podcast? What's that called? Liberty Lake
Deep dive.
Deep Dive. Katie would be great at that.
Yeah, David's mentioned that maybe we'll do a podcast on bike safety as maybe in April or
Yeah, that'd be real
April or
fun.
May. And I could develop a few guest speakers to,
Yeah.
maybe someone from the police department, and things like that.
Yeah, fire department, so they
Yeah.
have to come and pick you up off the ground. All right, well, thanks again, Katie, appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, next up, review of potential recreation programs. Mikhail.
So at the last meeting, Commissioner Frank had brought up a point about the library having similar programs, which I'm glad she did because I did go through and double check the library and there was some overlap. And so I did put together kind of a list of the programs they did. And then,
Yeah, that's in your packet.
yes, which is in the packet. And then I produced a new sheet to kind of a rough plan for 2025. And none of this is set in stone really, but these are kind of the ideas moving forward where we decided to differentiate age into pre-K, youth, teens, adults, and then seniors. And I was hoping to try and do something for each season, spring, summer, fall, and winter. So kind of what I brought today, which you'll see packets here on the desk as well, is just 2 spring activities, one for pre-K and one for youth. I'm going to pull it up real quick on the screen. Anyway, so the first one would be a kind of program for youth where we do some type of field trips. I use the police station as an example. But there are a lot of programs for those younger kids where it's a parent-child program where you would take them to a location. I'll use it once again, the police station as the example, where they can tour the station with their parents, maybe get fingerprinted, and then do some type of activity after, some arts and crafts after, and then some type of snack. So that's kind of the spring program looking for. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be the police station, but that's kind of what I put since we do have a police station within the city. And then the second program I would bring before you guys would be, this one's a little similar, but also different. That's why I left it similar from the library, where it's a build competition, where the library does some Lego building. This would be, you'd register, your youth would get a Lego set, and then they would all get the same set, and then they would try and build something different with that set, and then have a competition with it, and then there'd be a prize for the winner. And so that's kind of where the fees would go for, would provide those items. And so these are the 2. I kind of decided to scale it back and just maybe bring the ones I'm hoping to do per season, since spring is now. These would be the 2 that I would like to try and move forward with. I think it would hit those 2 younger age groups and then start adding some of the older age groups as summer and fall.
I think these are both fantastic.
Yeah, I do
Think you'll
too.
have any, especially the Lego. I don't think you'll have any problem filling that up. 10 people right away for each group.
So kind of what I would look for is just recommendation from the commission. And then I would go, if you all did recommend that, then I would go forward to council for the budgeting process to get the fees approved.
Yeah, so a motion to approve the spring programs of the police field trip and the Lego build competition?
Correct.
Have you talked to the Liberty Lake Police about that?
I haven't yet. That's why it's not necessarily geared. We can do some other locations, well, more just field trip in general, taking the kids to a location. A lot of places will do banks, or they'll do the fire department. And so more along the lines of just that activity of the field trip for that pre-K age group, not necessarily specifically the police station, but that was just the example I chose.
Yeah, so it's a good choice if they have time to do it then.
I move with our recommendation to bring these to city council, the examples of the police station excursion and the Lego build competition for activities.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to move forward with the 2 spring activities, one for the pre-K and one for youth, using the example of the police field trip for the pre-K and the Lego build for youth. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, please show it passes unanimously. Great job, Mikhail.
Thank you.
All right. Moving forward, we're going to item 6, our unfinished and new business. Starting with updates for remaining 2024 projects. So we have the pickleball box at Orchard Park. And Mikhail, I think you have an update?
Yes, so that was picked up. There was some difficulty in getting it over there, but it was finally picked up. And then they will be in the process of rewrapping it.
Great.
Perfect. So that's almost checked off the list. The Harvard Trailhead expansion. Mikhail, have you heard any more on that?
I think Derek is on. I don't think I've heard much more. If he's still on, I don't know if he has any other comments or if Mark knows any more about it.
Derek?
So right now they are kind of on a standstill waiting for the weather, but once the weather changes, they'll get back on working to finish that up. They're just waiting for the frost and everything to get off the turf.
Did they already install the new bathroom? I thought I saw.
Yes, the old restroom was removed and the new restroom is installed. Once the weather changes, they'll start on the irrigation and some of the hardscaping.
And then do they expect that to be open by sometime in the mid to late spring?
I heard that their plan was to have it all open by April 1st. I can double check with Greenstone and see if they're still on track for that.
Okay, well, we appreciate the update.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, next is the Pavilion Park Historical Outlet, and Laura was apologized for not being able to come, but she sent an email, and she said regarding the historical outlet, she did receive dimensions that will be necessary for the sign, and she's going to move forward with getting quotes for the frame. So that means the historical folks are starting to drill down and narrow it down. So that's a big step. We still haven't seen the information that's going to be on the overlook yet, but at least we have the dimensions and can get working on the bid for the structure. Then the Kramer Liberty Lake Together 2024. I think there's some pictures in your packet. And she said, I've provided some images from Colleen the artist showing the progress of the glass work, and the studio work is progressing. They're still hoping for a spring completion, which would be in line with getting it installed, because we do need spring weather to do the install.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the colors are really beautiful, and I hope that, I guess the DOT has released the utility boxes there. So eventually we're going to do a wrap, but I'm kind of hoping that maybe the artists will have some ideas for that, maybe something abstract with the same colors to, just kind of enhance that. We don't want anything to detract from it. So my suggestion would be, we kind of wait and see where it's going to be and the final product look, and then we can move forward from there on the wraps. But we should be able to get those boxes wrapped this year. The one thing I realized we didn't add for the agenda, because Laura also gave an update on, is the Liberty Lake Together 2025. We do have the called for qualifications issued to that. And she just wanted to let us know that she's had multiple artists reach out asking for more details, including like the dimensions of the roundabout and that sort of thing. The call for qualifications ends at the end of this month. So it sounds like that we're going to have multiple submissions is what I'm hoping for. So that project is still moving forward. So we appreciate Laura for giving us that email update. Next up is Smarty Boards, and I think we have something in our packet, David.
Yes. So after some confusion with our bid originally going to a school district in Texas, it made our way back to us. So that was an interesting phone call with a school district in Texas. What we should think about is, since this is going to Rocky Hill. Thank you. So we went with a pre-selected group of signs on there. I think some of them do mention water features that I recall. It's been a while since I've looked at it. But the only thing that I recall that we did was just put our logo on there. I don't think we used anything. Do you remember us using anything?
We didn't make any changes. We
So,
just had the logo.
What we could do is we could change the color. We could look in the packet, you have these here. So maybe we change the background color. Or we could keep it the same.
Yeah, I think we went with the blue because of the city
Yeah.
logo, if I recall.
So does the group think that we want to use the same board if there's no mention of any water features. I don't think there is. I don't recall putting anything on there like that. Can you enlarge that again?
The Orchard Park?
Yeah, is there a way to make that bigger? Do you see anything that have to do with the, oh yeah, anything with the water features on there?
Seems pretty basic.
Yeah. So
I think that would work.
we could do the exact same board. It would be mounted the same way on the posts. We would have it a little bit lower this time, or so that we don't have to put a stepping area there. That was what we didn't calculate on last time, where the little kids, had to look up, so we put a step there. I believe we put a step there.
Yeah. Derek, are you still here? Because if I recall, I think there was a recommendation about height, and I don't know that our crew, because I think there was some problem with the structure coming separate from the something, and they made their own
Yes, they did.
thing to hang it on, and it wasn't at the prescribed height that the Smarty board people had. So I think that might be a lesson learned, so.
Yeah.
We would.
Yeah, originally it was the poles that hold the Smarty board sign up. Did not work with the Smarty board, so we ended up putting up our own posts. And
Okay.
the crews, after installing that, found out that there was an actual guideline for height for that.
So if we ordered the same kit, so to speak, would you be able to set it up similar to what we did height-wise, lowering the height?
Absolutely. The first one was just a little bit of a trial period. But with us now knowing the correct way to install it, it will definitely not be an issue for us to install the second one.
When do you propose would be the earliest that you could install?
I would think somewhere around, obviously this has been a crazy year, but I would think somewhere around maybe mid-March, we could look at getting something out there and getting it taken care of.
Okay, because there was a very quick turnaround time when we ordered these. It was like 2 weeks, I think we had it. Why don't we shoot for April, late March, early April?
Okay.
We can get that ordered. Does the commission want to use the same colors? I know that each park has a different color. And I think we went with the blue because of the logo. Is that what you're saying?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the colors for the story walk stands. So if there's no objection, I would just assume I could reach out to Remy with Smarty Symbols and have them invoice us for the same exact kit, and you'll be able to install it according to the height recommendations, Derek?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do we need a motion? Do we need council approval to spend that? It's less than 3,000.
It's $2,650.
Yeah, typically, the limit on those is 7,500. And so if it doesn't exceed that, you wouldn't need.
And it was in our budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll reach out this week and I'll let her know that we're looking for a mid-March delivery, and then we could decide if we want to put it up in mid-March or if we want to put it up in the first week in April. Does that work for everybody?
Mhm. We will have to figure out where we want it, and I don't know, Derek, if you have a suggestion of that, like, would it be on the edge of the actual playground?
Probably on the edge of the playground, but let me discuss that with staff first, and just make sure it's not going to be in any way of a problem for them for maintenance. And me and Mikkel can get a map set up and bring to next meeting on the locations we're looking at.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So if we could entertain a motion to move ahead with the purchase of the Smarty Board sign for Rocky Hill Park, then we can get that going, and then we can decide on a location once we have the recommendations from staff.
Okay, I move that we go forward with the Smarty Board.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move forward with the purchase of the Smarty Board for Rocky Hill Park. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Please show the motion has passed unanimously. And David, thanks for your work on that. We
Yeah, I
appreciate
will,
your coordination.
I will reach out to her this week.
And next up is the Story Walk location. I know there was you had made one suggestion for the road along Liberty Lake there on the trail. I was wondering, since the Lions Club is developing out now that master plan of the Arboretum, if it might be suitable to go in that area. I don't know which would be the more heavily trafficked area or appropriate, but I don't know who owns that trail on the Liberty Lake Road along the west side of the golf course, Trailhead Golf Course. And there's a Fallen Heroes Circuit course down there, and
I'm pretty sure that's right away. We'd have to look at it just to confirm.
so that could be problematic for putting up a story walk in a right of way.
Not necessarily. It's,
Okay.
when I say it's right away, I think it means that the city would own it.
Oh.
So, but we'd have to confirm that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I see the city maintenance people down there like putting de-icer and whatever, so pretty sure.
Okay. Good to know. So I remember in our discussion that we had talked about not at Pavilion Park because so many things are going on there and we don't know if the playground will end up being relocated or expanded. And of course we have it in Rocky and Orchard. So if we want to do another one, what are your ideas?
Might be nice having it in the Arboretum and add something to that area.
Well, it's a kind of a long, skinny area, which is suitable for a story walk.
Would we check
What
with
about
the
the
Lions Club?
logistics of that with, is it a place that's frequented by children?
No.
Not right now, but if we added more things to it.
It worries me a little bit having it by a road because of kids and roads, but
Except for if you go down where the picnic benches are, that's more secluded.
no, I mean, if over by the golf
Yeah.
course.
Oh,
But yeah, the Arboretum is not by a road, it's between roads, so, yeah.
Do we have a map of that arboretum that you could throw up there?
I can't.
There's a nice little trail from Mission to Appleway on Country Vista. It's wide there, but I'm pretty sure I don't know who owns that. Whether it's part of the Rocky Hill development. It's in the middle of Rocky Hill. But the trail is not quite right next to the road there. But
So the map for the Arboretum is up.
The middle section there? Yeah.
what are those little U-shaped things, on the sidewalk? Yeah, what are those? Oh, those are benches.
Yeah.
Those are memorial benches. They have names engraved on them.
So where does it start and where does it end?
It starts at Country Vista at the
Okay.
top of the screen, and then it goes down to that road where houses are.
Okay.
See the roundabout?
That's
there?
actually quite a big area.
yeah.
It's big. I
Yeah.
went down there.
Think it would,
There's plenty of room for one. The only thing is, it couldn't be on the same side as the benches. It's, maybe we should discuss it a little bit with the Lions Club, and that we'd have an opportunity to do that if they give a presentation.
well, we also too have, I'm looking at where it's going to get the most use.
Yeah.
And we have the new playset design for 2026 proposed. Is that what we're looking at
correct.
for? So do we want to make it work in conjunction with the new playset at Pavilion? Because that's going to, in my opinion, I mean, I like your idea, but I think Pavilion's just going to have so much more visibility there.
And we do have Town Square, but then again, we don't really know how that's going to end up
Yeah.
because of the vacant property the city owns next to it. I mean, that maybe that's something we table till 2026.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
also River Rock Park, but that's not a city-owned park, it's a HOA park.
Yeah.
But it's still in our Liberty Lake.
Yeah, I don't know about how we would even go about putting a city project into a HOA-owned
We
park.
could just get it approved by the HOA.
Have you heard of that before, Mark?
It would just require an agreement for maintaining and all of those other items that would need to be agreed upon. It's not unheard of, but
Okay.
Doesn't the city maintain that park?
we do not.
Oh,
You know, if we look at Pavilion Park, the trail along the grass adjacent to the tennis courts and the baseball backdrop could be a location that wouldn't interfere with any new design of playground equipment, I'm thinking.
I don't know. I would be a little hesitant until we know the design, because if we're looking at having two separate play areas where we only have one now, it's gonna be super challenging. I mean, there's no shame in putting that off till 2026 when we know
I'm fine.
what's going on there.
We have
Because
it-
you're right as far as traffic.
Yeah, we have to get a firm commitment to that. Spokane Valley Tech is going to in fact do it. You know, we have to give them the time frame and when they want to do it, and they would probably prefer that either we give it to them now for the rest of the year, because we're coming up, the end of the school year will be here before you know it.
The city does also own the ball fields, which is technically considered a park as well, as another option.
Oh, we own that property?
Mhm.
Oh. Mark?
Just giving some additional context, this is kind of strange. Over there where you're talking about where the Wounded Warriors course is, it looks like part of that is owned, part of it is right of way, but part of it's owned by the Sewer and Water District. And there's kind of a triangle that goes right in the middle of the right of way.
Mhm.
Oh, along Liberty Lake Drive there?
Yeah, so that's, again,
Yeah.
we can work, I'm sure that we could work something out, but if multiple variables goes into your decision making, that's an extra variable that we would have to get through, is to strike a deal with the Sewer and Water District, so.
Well, David, I hear what you're saying about, I know they took quite a bit of time to do those. I mean, if we gave them a project, say in the fall, to be completed in the school year, I mean, to have them built out, we don't necessarily need a place to put them yet,
No.
correct?
We could, another idea, and I don't know if this is feasible, but what about the walkway between Liberty Lake Elementary and the younger kid school?
Oh,
Liberty.
Liberty
So where they
Creek.
live for the
Creek,
buses
yeah.
there, the kids are going by there all the time.
Are you thinking along Country Vista?
Well, the green space on Long Country Vista could work, along that pathway, near where we planted the tree last year, right along that pathway.
So McKell, on the west side of those ball fields, is that city property?
West side this year?
Yeah,
I believe so. I believe this
I mean,
whole section is city
that
property.
trail gets a ton of use.
yeah. So David, you're talking about not necessarily along the tree line, but in that area?
Yes.
Between, okay.
So on like the sidewalk by the street?
So between Madison and, not Madison, but between Liberty Creek parking lot and the corner of Country Vista
And Moulter?
and Moulter, that green space there, it's where we planted the tree just past that. right there. That's where we planted the tree there. We could have it along there. It would get a tremendous amount of use. It would be located kind of centrally between, we have the one at Rocky Hill Park, we have the one at Orchard Park. So now we would have this. I just think
But it would be along the sidewalk where the trees are.
exactly,
And would it
Easy.
be on the non-street side of the sidewalk?
yes.
How close is the fence to the sidewalk? I can't
Well,
remember.
there's no fence there. So where he has the cursor, there's no fence there.
Oh, there's no
It's a-
fence there?
So
Yeah.
it's just all green space there.
It's
and
just
then
open.
Further
Yeah.
past the ball field. So if we did it there, that area, I mean, we live in those houses just below there. So there's people walking out there all day.
No, that actually is probably a very trafficked area. I agree.
And
And
it's
then
easy
the
to maintain, just mow around it.
other side of the park as well, there's pathway and
Yeah.
green space here as well, just FYI.
But somebody should probably do a field trip out there and see if there would be any obstacles. You know about how much feet we need for,
Really depends on how many signs, if we had 15 to 20 signs, easily could fit along there. Because I already know, looking at the one we did at Rocky Hill Park is bigger, I think, than the one we did at Orchard, if I recall, longer. I just, I think the traffic, the foot traffic there is more than the parks, and just, when people are walking by it all day long.
can you move that up so we can see the corner of that way of Moulter?
On the east, okay.
Because I thought there was a fence
No,
along
the
there.
fence starts right there where the grass.
Oh, that's where the
Yeah.
fence starts. So you're talking before the fence.
Way, yeah, see, the fence is where his cursor is.
Okay, I see
So
now.
all that way to the right, all the way down.
And you
to
think
the
that's
driveway.
long enough?
Oh, yeah.
That's probably not a bad
That's like,
spot.
you did two of them.
And how,
So if we like that area, I can reach out to the school and say, hey, this is a project you can take on between now and the end of the year, and then we would have a summer install or early summer install, and
well, why don't you reach out to the school? Because I'll be curious to see if they could do it this year or they would need to do it first thing in the fall.
okay.
But I think that's a good possibility. Maybe during this next month, as you're out and about, you could drive by there, everybody, and look, and then we'll get your report on what they can do and when they can do it, and then we can make a decision.
Miguel.
Possibly
Miguel,
at our
where
next
was
meeting.
your, the other place that you pointed out a moment ago?
I was just saying up by the parking lot as well. This is also owned by the city, to my knowledge. I will double check everything about city property, but I'm pretty sure this whole section is ours.
I don't know why I thought that the ball fields were only leased to the city by the school district, but I don't really know why I think that.
I'll double check and confirm.
Thanks.
But would it even matter if that was the case? Because we would be putting them next to the sidewalk, which is the city right away, correct?
It just depends on where the property line is, but
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, they're all, I always see them maintaining it there anyway, so.
yeah. Okay, all right, well, that sounds good. If you don't mind doing,
No,
you're doing a
absolutely.
lot of research on that. Thank you for that.
She's gonna have Evan help me get my old email out.
All right. Now we're on to item 7, the staff report, Mikhail.
Derek, are you still online? Derek has a staff report for the parks and facilities real quick.
And you have something in your packet at the end.
Well, I'll start talking about the ticket booth while he gets back on. I did talk to staff, and then the ticket booth at Pavilion is going to be rebuilt by the facilities department, which is now under Public Works. They had originally intended to do it inside over the winter and then place it there, but they weren't aware that it is full of electrical boxes inside, breaker boxes and power, and so it will have to be built on site. So Parks superintendent is working with with them on kind of making sure it gets done this summer. And then golf and parks, they have just been working on a lot of indoor things. They've been sharpening all the reels, which haven't been done in quite a few years. Reels are the for the golf mowers, which they have not been done in a couple of years. So they've been sharpening all of them. They've been repainting the backstops for the ball fields, and then getting ready to look at some trees that may need to be removed this year. Upcoming events, we did schedule our clean, green, and bulky waste for April 26th at Town Square Park, which will be a Saturday. We're working with Waste Management to have all the bins there again. Last year, we went really big on bins. I think we had 12 in previous years. I think we had 8. And then we discovered 12 was probably too much. So I think we're going to have about 10 bins this year. And then Nancy just asked me to bring up, so Winter Glow, they've reached out to us and asked for more assistance in that. And so it's something staff is discussing with them and taking information to council. And then this has already been mentioned, but the Kramer Parkway Legacy Ridge Box has been released to the city. So in planning, that can be planned for art as well in the future. And then anything else, we have upcoming council report, which will be February 18th. And I think Nancy, you already have someone.
Yeah, Katie said she would do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the last was just, we wanted to refresh and double check and see if anyone is still not receiving their city emails. If they are not, please make time to meet with Evan to get that resolved.
Joni, are you getting your emails okay?
No. No, I'm not.
And how about you, Bob?
I'm still using my private email, and when I even I try to reply back to something, or I included myself on that message I sent you guys today, it was kicked back to me.
Oh, from your personal email? Are you able to, Noelle, to get your city email?
I don't think she's on anymore.
Oh, that's you, Joni?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
Are you able to get your city email?
No, unfortunately, I've never been I was able to get it for like the first month or so, but then something happened and I wasn't able to get it.
And Bob, are you unmuted?
No, I have not been getting mine.
Okay, because our goal is for everyone to work with Evan, and I don't know if you can do that by phone or not, Bob, but we'd like to get back to just sending the emails within the city email system if we could, but we've been forced to also use our personal emails. But if we could have you focus maybe in the near future on getting with Evan, and he's the problem solver on this, maybe Mikhail, you could email everyone Evan's email and the best way to contact him so they can get in touch.
Yes, I will make sure everyone has Evan's contact information to reach out. And then if you could reach out sooner rather than later, and he can help you get some of those things resolved so you can start receiving those emails. Thank you so much.
And you didn't mention Rocky Hill Barn. I was just curious. It was on your report.
Oh, yeah. And they had been working on redoing the barns inside, just doing some flooring so they can store more things up in the loft that they have there. So the loft, I believe, was refloored, and now they're working on putting equipment back up on there. So just additional space for them to store equipment.
I have a question, Mikhail, about Winter Glow. Is that headed up by volunteers or is that headed up by staff?
It is headed up by volunteers. It is a 501c3 organization that is in charge of it.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that at this point, the city has been a sponsor, one of the sponsors of Winter Glow.
That's correct.
But
So
it's becoming big, and well, I
Yeah.
think we heard at the council that they want the city to be more involved, but we don't, that's a higher level discussion than us.
So isn't there a new group that's taking over or something?
It's the same organization. The organization has a new leadership group. And so they've reached out to us meaning the city, and asked us to become more actively involved. And so we're evaluating what that means at this point.
Part of the challenge is a lot of people that put Winter Glow together originally and that still do all the heavy lifting. You know, they're retired folks, or they're either near or well into retirement. And so it's getting more and more difficult for them to do all the heavy lifting, so to speak.
It takes a lot of man hours to put that together. Any other items that we didn't get to?
I had another question for Mikkel on the recreation programs that you the ideas that you put together. Where are the classes held like in the winter?
So that's what I'm going to be working on, finding a location. I've talked with the library and they have volunteered if they have room to allow us to use the library. And then I will see what other locations we potentially have available, maybe Trailhead, the indoor location there. So I have
Do we
some
ever
ideas.
use the hub or no?
I have not
We will.
thought of utilizing the hub, but yeah,
Well, if you have
the
anything to report,
leadership
just
group
let
there
me know.
has said they would allow us to be using some of their facilities if need be.
So all the other classes are outside, like in the parks?
It's going to be a hodgepodge. So a lot of them would be envisioned outside, but then, wintertime, I still would like to do programming. So I need to find some type of indoor location.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Anything else, McCann?
I don't have anything. No.
All right.
Nancy,
Yes.
I think you have a comment here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just one clarifying question. It was about the pictures that we were talking about earlier for the Rotary Room. Would they be pictures of like Liberty Lake in general, like outside areas, I guess would be the best way to put, like.
That's what I was kind of thinking, something
Okay.
that, tied the room into Liberty Lake
Yeah.
or some general, maybe Pacific Northwest.
Okay, I just have
pictures.
to check because I don't know if the school's going to be able to do like outside photography sort of things rather than like just within our school.
Oh, yeah.
So that's also why I was talking about like other photographers that are involved with the school, just because I
Well,
don't know what that means.
just for an example, when we did the student art that's on display in the Trailhead building, we just asked them to keep within a Pacific Northwest theme.
Mhm.
So I could see us potentially doing something else. I think you had mentioned that, David.
Tomorrow, there will be snowy weather with a high of
Are they not allowed to go outside?
They are, but like within our school
Oh.
like area. So and other than our school, it's a lot of just like grasslands. It's not
Yeah.
super.
Are they allowed to do like extra credit kind of home projects where they would have an opportunity to
They might
venture
be
farther?
Yeah, the only problem is I'm not entirely sure, which is I'll talk to him tomorrow about
Yeah.
it, but I'm not entirely sure if the school would allow people to take cameras outside of our school
Oh, they're
area.
using the school's campus.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, why don't you talk to them
Yeah.
and then get us the email address and we'll start the conversation.
Yeah.
But all good points. Thank you. All right. Move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. All right. Joe, the motion is passed. Thank you, guys. It was a good meeting.
Evan, are we off?